All right, hello and welcome to the GGG podcast. I'm Paul and I'm joined by Phil.
Hello, how's it going, everyone?
What's not really a big news week this week, Phil.
Yeah.
So, what have you been getting up to? I saw you on Discord playing a new game that we recently discussed. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so all of our talking about Assassin's Creed got me good and oiled up to play Assassin's Creed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ezio, oh my god.
It's the exaggerated swagger of an Italian man, Ezio, drew me back in.
Yeah.
No, I gotta say, I started playing it yesterday because I was out of town over the weekend. Started playing it last night for a bit, and then I came home from work and just did some stuff I need to get done, and then continued playing it.
Right.
Because it's pretty damn good.
Good. Right on.
They decided to put the fun back in this one.
What?
I think someone over at Ubisoft who was cooking up the stew was like, I'm gonna put the fun and the stealth back in this one. Are we okay with that? Okay, cool. And it's pretty great.
Right on. Yeah, the stealth was definitely the thing that I missed from the game. I feel like there's just not a lot of stealth games out there anymore. I really got into Rainbow Six Extraction a while ago, but nobody that I play with actually goes stealthy. They all just want to shoot everything as soon as they see it.
As soon as you put a gun in a gamer's hand, it's over. They're just gonna shoot everything.
Pretty much. We have that Sonic the Hedgehog go mentality. Just run. Just do it.
Yeah. Just hold down right trigger and no. Yeah, I think if I had to say it was like anything, I'd say it's like Assassin's Creed 1 and 2 mixed with Unity, where it's got the good parkour. Mm-hmm. The combat's a little bit simpler, but it's all timing based. So if you get in a fight with one or two people, you're fine. If you get in a fight with four, you got to dip. But you can already I'm level in the beginning of the game, and I'm doing some cool assassination combos where I'll throw a knife and then run up and stab a dude and then throw a knife to hit a thing to fall on somebody. There's just a lot to do in it, and I am enjoying myself.
Yeah, little Assassin's Creed John Wick action. Right. Have you been playing anything else?
Not so. I played a little bit of Liza P, a little bit more of that. Game's still hard. Love it. What have you been playing?
Still some usual suspects. I finally beat the Invasions mode this season in Mortal Kombat 1, nice. Which for people who are playing that game and are working their way through Invasions, let me tell you, it is a letdown at the end of it.
No.
Yeah, that is. I was like, that's it. I was expecting more rewards or something. I mean, you do get this really great scorpion skin because the season is themed around scorpions, so that's really cool. But aside from that, you really don't get that many rewards, and I was very let down with that. And so I'm a little. Now that I've gotten through a lot of pretty much what the game has to offer content-wise, except for multiplayer, I'm kind of like, I don't know if I need to keep playing it, so it's a little disappointing.
It's tough with fighting games. So I feel like, when you play Smash Brothers, the first 100 matches, you're just trying to unlock your new characters.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's something that keeps me playing Smash when it comes out. I wish more fighting games did that, where they kind of all right, if you do this, you'll unlock this character.
Yeah.
Or I feel like there should be some special ultra unlock, maybe you could get Homelander or something when he drops if you have done this.
Yeah,
that would be great.
I think, and we might get into this later with the main topic, but I think something that I'm seeing more and more and more of is just games as a service. And I understand the business idea with it, but I think a lot of games tend to release now where they're well, we have to set this up for our service. So what we give you at first is not really all that we have planned because we need to drag it out into this service. That's what Diablo's doing and a lot of other games. So I can definitely feel that now. I am glad that there's no battle pass in Mortal Kombat. So that's something. but still disappointed. Anyway, I've been playing that. I've been playing more Void Crew. I went back to Dark Tide, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, but it got a big update, and so I was messing around with that. But
Very
yeah,
cool. Well, I guess
yeah.
Should we talk about what's releasing this week?
Let's talk
it's not
about
that much.
This. Yeah, it's enough. It's enough. You know, we got Spider-Man next week. It's fine. We're fine.
Spider-Man and Mario drop on the same day. I didn't know about
Oh
that.
my god, I didn't know about that either.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, okay, first up, Forza Motorsport.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I liked Forza games, because I would be in heaven right now, because I hear it's great.
Yeah. It's kind of it's. I wish that I liked Gran Turismo games. Mm-hmm. You know, I wish that a car sim was my vibe, but I do. Here's the thing: is I do like racing games, but I generally prefer my racing games a little bit more arcadey. Just like the old MotorStorm games for the PS3. Loved those. Any arcadey racing games I think are great, but the moment that you're like, it's a real car, it's like, I'm like, that's cool, but I want to drive something with rockets on the back. So.
Yeah. For me, the perfect line was Burnout, that series of games, when I was just like, you were going fast, you were drifting, and you were really focusing on all that stuff, but then you could also slam into someone and totally destroy their car. And that was fun for me.
Yeah.
Like it was a nice little midpoint there.
Absolutely. There was a very arcadey game came out. Oh my God, must have been like 15 years ago now. I think I was in high school. And it was all about like there'd be like an earthquake during the race, or there'd be a volcano exploding. And so the entire thing is just, you're just getting wrecked over and over again. You're just trying to survive. So I love that kind of stuff. Forza Motorsport, many consider it to be the best driving sim out there right now. Mm-hmm. So I hope this one keeps it rolling. But probably not a game that we're going to be picking up.
It's the Microsoft plane simulator or whatever that game.
Flight simulator. Yeah.
It's that for cars. So
yes. Very cool. But perhaps a game people would be more excited about is Lords of the Fallen 2023. So I know a lot of what did I call them earlier? I called them hipster Dark Souls players. I don't know if they would like that title and enjoy that labeling. But a lot of people, it's kind of, this game is kind of established a little cult following. So definitely something worth noting now. I haven't really seen a lot of press about it. I haven't seen any reviews come out today for the game, though. So I try to get a good Dark Souls friend of mine into it once, and he was not having it. So have you ever played Lords of the Fallen?
I think I played it in some capacity. It might have been free on PlayStation Plus, like the old one.
Yeah.
At some point. Or it was like a couple bucks and I picked it up. And I remember thinking like, this is cool. But I'll just go play Dark Souls 2. So I'm curious to see. It's a curious case because not only is it Lords of the Fallen, they didn't rename it. They didn't give it a new name. They just kind of took the same thing. And,
I mean, that means that they like their brand. Like that's what that says to me. That it's like, we have enough of a following that we need to keep the name the same.
True.
Yeah.
But it could have been like Lords of the Fallen, Tides of Numenaria or something. You know, like
sure. Yeah.
The sequel naming thing they do. Maybe this is their sort of like, hey, listen, we know the last one was like just a proof of concept. This is real Lords of the Fallen. I mean, hey, it's called Shot. People seem pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
I'll probably give it a shot, but it's coming out in Broketober when every single game is coming out. And I'm like,
yeah,
I'm going to just buy a couple things.
Just a couple things. And then last, but certainly not least, Roblox, or excuse me, no. I skipped one. We got Wild Card Football, which is probably a game no one has heard of at all. Mm-hmm. It is a very arcadey American football game. So if you, like me, like more arcadey things instead of simulators, this is probably your version of Madden.
Okay.
So if you want to
Is
have
it
a
a
little,
little closer to like to Blitz?
yes, yeah, I would say it's more casual than Blitz.
Okay.
Well, it's the developers are quoted in saying that they got inspiration from like games like Mario Party and stuff like that. So if you're looking for an arcadey fun football game, or if you have like kids who are really into football, Wild Card Football might be the game for you. But I have no idea. We will see.
Oh, this looks cute.
It's so cute. It's ridiculously cute. And then we're coming up on Roblox has released for the PlayStation 4. For people who don't know what Roblox is, you're probably a young adult because you either don't have children or are not a child. So, but there are a lot of things you can actually make in Roblox, a lot of cool games. So it's not just for kids, but this was the first releasing on a major console, which is, I think, of good note, because I know a lot of kids play it on their computers, on their iPads, like that kind of a thing. Very, very popular game, and I could be
Roblox. It's huge.
Yeah, it's
like,
humongous.
It's you go to the store, you see Fortnite toys. Like there's a lot of video game toys now. You see Fortnite toys, you see Mario toys, you see Roblox toys, and I feel like I missed the boat on Minecraft. I was a little bit too old for it when it came out.
Yeah,
and then Roblox seems like the next step removed from that.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be the next generation's Minecraft if it isn't already. Like
yeah,
absolutely.
It's a wild game. I know there's lots of controversies around it, like with the Robux you can buy. Kim Kardashian didn't want her kids playing it because someone in game created a way to watch her sex tape in like one of the instances of Roblox that you can play. Last time I was visiting my brother in Florida, he's 18 years younger than me, and he was like, "Oh, check this out! You can play Red Dead Redemption 2 in Roblox," and someone had like created the game within Roblox. And me being a decent big brother, I just bought him Red Dead Redemption 2 for his computer, and I was like, just play the real thing. Don't be this kid. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to see it come to the PS4. I bet you there's lots of like legal issues as to why it's taken so long to come to a console.
Probably.
Yeah.
I know that, lots of games have had this issue. I know PlayStation has had the issue with Little Big Planet back in the day. And also, what was that? I think Dreams. All those games that allow you to make games, allow you to, really give you some good editing tools. Always going to be legal issues with that, but that just comes with that genre of game, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's a big weird week.
It's a really weird week. Not really anything for me, but that's fine.
But I was looking at Wild Card Football, and on the front of it, I believe they have I cannot remember his name. The player who was kicked off of the 49ers for kneeling.
Colin Kaepernick. Yeah, I think he's licensed.
Colin Kaepernick. He's the licensed guy behind this game. I don't follow football, so I don't know if he's currently on a team.
He is not.
Okay, that makes it so much better. Mm-hmm. If that game drops in price, I'm going to pick it up.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, speaking of football, EA Sports FC 24, we brought it up last week. It has officially launched. We got some early numbers back, and it has sold more copies than FIFA 23.
Suck it, FIFA. You're a trash organization.
Yeah. Yeah, so apparently it's launched. It's only been out for 1 week, and they've already sold, I think, almost 1 million more copies than the previous iteration. I think it's like 900,000 right now, which is great, and which means that people, still want soccer football game. So
yeah,
I'm glad to see it's still going. I don't know what else EA is working on, but I hope they can funnel this into other things. All of this money.
They've got that open world Star Wars game.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll remember that. Like that's.
Yeah, I'm sure that won't be canceled or delayed or.
I'm sure that will be delayed, but maybe not canceled.
Maybe.
Hopefully they'll make Dead Space Remake 2 because Dead Space Remake 1 was pretty great.
Oh yeah.
Like, they take this momentum, EA. I feel like this is what they do. They take the sports game and they make all the money, and they make something they kind of want to make, and they load it up with microtransactions to make more money, and they piss people off. So they have to release another sports game, and it's just a year-long cycle that it just continues.
It's like a theater. They got to do Christmas Carol every year. They got to get their money.
You got to make sure grandma's coming to your show and buying FIFA.
Yep.
Or buying Football Club.
Oh man. Ooh, sidebar. Since you brought up Dead Space, sidebar.
Yes.
I believe I saw you online playing the Callisto Protocol.
I did
because it was free on PSN. I want to say. What are your impressions?
I liked it. I felt the combat was like a little bit hard to nail down. It's like I felt like I could always just dodge side to side and mostly miss stuff. But it's beautiful. It's a weird thing because usually in horror games I'm a little bit freaked out. This one I didn't care because I had like a stick and I could hit stuff. So I don't know. It's not that scary of a game to me, but I really like the premise. Again, it's more Dead Space kind of.
Yeah. To me, like, so I paid money for that game. So Oof. I was very upset.
Yeah.
So, like, I think graphically, it's probably one of the prettiest games out right now.
Totally.
And like the game gets a lot of flack, but yeah, graphically, there's not really a lot to complain about graphically. Like it is gorgeous. But I feel like that's kind of my criticism with the game. It feels like a tech demo. More than like a fully fleshed out video game. And then I hated the combat. Like the fact that to do the analog stick, and like I couldn't figure out the animation of when he's swinging from which direction, and it's not like I can't use an analog stick instead of like a dodge button. It's like I've played other games like that, but I paid money. I paid money for that game, and I stopped playing it after 2 hours. I was like, I'm not doing it anymore.
That's. You know what? I think if I'd paid for it, I'd probably be a little bit more upset but since it was free, I was like, whatever.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, excited to see more of it, maybe. But okay. Next story is, as you might have guessed, based on us talking about Unity and their weird stuff that they're trying to do and take people's money. The Unity CEO is stepping down. It's refreshing to see a CEO see consequences. That's nice.
Is he seeing consequences though? So this is really interesting. The CEO's name, I'm gonna butcher this last name because I do not know how to pronounce it. But it is John Riticello, I think. But we're just gonna call him John because I can't really pronounce it. So he is stepping down, but he will be taking his full salary for the next year. And while the interim CEO, Whitehurst, will be accepting a base salary of $1.12 million and $200,000 of stock options. And then the old CEO, John, was offered a bonus for everything that he had done for the company on top of that. And I believe he has decided to, let's see, I'm trying to find it here. But I believe he's decided to take it over a period of 5 years, similarly to like if you won the lottery, you don't want to cash it all out at once. So there's a lot of money flying back and forth. And to me, I would say like we were kind of like when we talked, I believe it was 2 episodes ago, we were talking about Unity. But kind of being like, okay, well, they need to be able to make some money and blah, 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 blah. But reading this article and all of the money that's flying around kind of doesn't seem like Unity needs any more cash.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit peeved with all of this information coming out, and I think a lot of other people are. So yeah,
It's seeing some of this article. I'm gonna try Rick Sotelo.
there you go. I
Maybe
think that's better than
r-
how I did.
This piece of this man said that developers who didn't put microtransactions in their games were effing idiots. He later apologized, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I get it. You're a businessman. Microtransactions seem like a slam dunk because it's like, oh, it's optional. People can buy it. But also, when it's your hobby that's like being destroyed by these small vampiric forces just leeching your wallet through one game, I'm glad that guy is stepping down. I wish that he didn't have as much money as he does.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like a lot of times when very rich people mess up that there aren't really not a lot of consequences other than we'll give you, your year's salary for next year anyway, and you'll be a CEO somewhere else.
So we'll give you someone else's lifetime earnings for 1 year, and then some stock options and then a bonus, and you're probably good for the rest of your life, but you will probably go ruin another company, huh? Enjoy.
So hopefully he does not get back into the gaming industry. That's pretty much where I'm at with it. All right.
Thanks.
Moving on to a slightly less aggravating thing. The new PS5 Slim has apparently been announced, and I think we all knew this was coming, but I'm not here for it. I'm a big PlayStation guy, but for me, the thing, like, I think the PS4 Pro, and they're calling it the Slim. I don't know if there's going to actually be like, is this going to run better than the original PS5? We don't have those technical details yet. And like, I know there's always been a Slim version of every PlayStation. But I think that this is more of a prelude to, this is the PlayStation 5 Pro, and this is the new regular PlayStation 5, which is the Slim. And I, for the PS4, I kind of understood it because of 4K. Yeah. But ain't no way these games are running in a higher resolution than that, with a PS5 Pro. And so, Sony, I would really caution you. It's like, I know you're going to release one eventually, but so help me God, if next Christmas comes and you have announced a PlayStation 5 Pro, I'm going to be furious.
Well, it seems like we're entering this age where it's kind of benefits, kind of downsides. Console generations are iterative, because everything on my PS4 I can download onto my PS5.
Right.
And Xbox, their whole library is supposed to be like, it plays on everything. But I get the Slim thing a little bit. From as far as I can tell, the main advantage so far is that if you bought a digital version of the Slim, you can take out one of the sides and put in a disc version if you buy that later. So I bought the digital version. Every now and again, I'm like, man, I wish I had a disc when I see a game on sale. But so that's like the one benefit. I was looking at the measurements. It goes from like, I think 39 centimeters high to 38. So it's pretty much, yeah, it's still so big.
Oh my God.
I hope that they try to market now the original PS5s as PS5 thick. That is the only
with
way that I
C's.
will be like fully on board. Juicies. My juicy PS5. Something there. Yeah, but I don't know. Interesting. Hopefully it runs a little bit like better. Like, I don't know. I just hope that the iterative nature of it is good and is an improvement. But I think I'm going to be cynical and agree with you that they're probably just preluding a PS5 Pro.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And yeah,
I don't know how they would even market a PS5 Pro. Like, what's the marketing with the Pro? It's the load times are faster. No, they're not.
nope.
No, they're not. That's the whole thing of the PS5 that you guys have been pushing, is that there's no freaking load times. So, yeah.
If I could guess, I would assume they'd make it. So you know how games have like quality and then
Performance.
Performance.
Yeah.
I bet you it'll like the Insomniac Spider-Man. When they released Miles Morales, they had a ray tracing mode and then a regular mode, and then they came out with a version that was like the middle of the two that ran at 60 and had some ray tracing.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you there'll be like just different ways you can turn on your games to have ray tracing at 60 or ray tracing or 60.
Yeah, maybe you can speak to this a little better than I can. But for Spider-Man 2, I thought that I saw somewhere that they're just like, we no longer have an option where you turn off ray tracing. It's just on all the time because we've just had more time with the PS5 and we've learned how to do it.
Yeah.
So
But
but
Insomniac are like a pack of wizards over there in Burbank, just doing straight up magic. I don't understand how they do what they do.
Sure. It's the same with Naughty Dog, I guess.
True.
All right. Well, speaking of more console releases, do you want to go into this one?
Yeah, let me take this one.
Mm-hmm.
This one is exciting because unlike the PS5, which is very new, the Switch is very old. And we're just getting more and more like leaks and rumors about the Switch 2. The leak that I just saw like was talking about possible pricing, possible like they're releasing two, like a regular version and a more premium like
Switch Pro?
gamer enhanced. Yeah, Switch Pro. Which would be an interesting idea because if you see with like the regular Switch, we kind of have that with the OLED, but then there was the regular Switch with the removable controllers and the Switch Lite with the not removable controllers. So they're not new to that. The biggest things that were exciting to me was the price points that they released, which was I believe $400 and $499. $400 for the regular version, $499 for the advanced one. Mm-hmm. If that's around what the price is, I feel like that's fair.
Yeah.
Although the Switch was what, $299 at launch?
Yeah, but I mean, with how expensive everything else in life has gotten, like $400 is not what it used to be. Like
exactly.
Like if Microsoft and Sony were like, this is the Xbox 5 and this is the PlayStation 6. Like none of those consoles are launching below $600. Like
yeah.
So $400 for a Switch makes sense. I guess my question is, do you actually think this is going to be a Switch 2? Because Nintendo has always, no pun intended, but switched up what they're doing with like, no, it's the Wii U and it's the Wii or the GameCube or it's, do you think that, because I think the Switch, like it's not good hardware anymore, but the idea behind it obviously is phenomenal, that it's like instead of having a Game Boy and having a Nintendo, we're just gonna make it one. So like, do you think they're gonna stick with that idea of like plug it into your TV and take it with you?
Yeah, I think that I'm sure it must save them a lot of like development cost to just be making games for one system. Like there's no longer a Game Boy game, there's no longer like different iterations of it. There's just, we're making it for this and you can play it however you want to play it. So I think they'll stick with that. According to all like the design leaks, it still has the removable controllers. I feel like that's like part of what, like Nintendo has always been a toy company and a video game company at the same time.
Yeah,
and we saw like with the Wii, they were like, hey, here's something you play with your grandma, and they kind of tried to give us that with the controllers this time. So I should hope they continue with like that same mentality. And I think like they're not going to make something that's as powerful as the PS5 or Xbox Series X.
No, yeah.
So they have to give us that like outside of their incredible first title or first party games, they're going to have to give us some of that maneuverability, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
I took a look at the article for it. I'm not buying those images I gotta say,
Mm-hmm.
no. That looks like a Sony portable, not a Nintendo.
It's too sleek.
It's too sleek. It's not. It doesn't look like something fun. It looks like, oh, this is how I remotely control my washing machine from downstairs. Like,
it's like a black slate.
Yes.
It's almost looks like they tried to sand down all the buttons.
It's kind of like PS3 era, honestly, like the original PS3.
It is, yeah.
All right.
No, I think naming wise, it's just going to be the Super Switch.
The Super Switch.
Like
I mean,
Nintendo to Super Nintendo. You know?
Yeah, the SS though. I don't know how I feel about that. So hopefully somebody who speaks English on the team will be like,
guys.
All right. So I wanted to get into this, and this is going to lead directly into our main topic this week. But Halo Infinite is getting another update. They're moving into Season 5. So if you are a Halo fan, you should be reasonably excited. They're bringing the usual seasonal updates. So there's a new battle pass. There will be 50 ranks of that battle pass, 20 of which are free. So that's kind of nice. And as well as there's new skins, going to be new things in the shop. They're bringing back Extraction, I think is the game mode. It's got a little bit of a twist on it for Infinite. We don't exactly know what that twist is yet, so we'll have to wait and see next week. But the big thing about the update is that it is allowing players to put AI bots in Forge, which is huge because now that essentially means that you can create PvE, player versus environment, levels and matches, and do a whole lot more things with that. So, just being able to have AI in that is awesome. Unfortunately, it's part of what Microsoft originally promised before the game came out. So, I'm kind of sort of excited about it, but I also don't want to give them credit for doing something they said they were going to do a year and a half ago. So,
now, did they ever add in the Battle Royale Halo?
Not to my knowledge, unless that was a seasonal thing. I played a few of the seasons. I don't think I've played this season 4, the current one, still. Forge was the big thing that they did not include in the game, and that they have slowly been bringing into the game, and I'm very grateful for that. Sorry, I'm on my Halo tangent. But I'm very grateful for that. But it kind of sucks, and it reminds me of Starfield, also owned by Microsoft, where they're like, "Hey, we're gonna release this awesome new update," and Starfield's like, "We're gonna have streamlined modding in March." And Halo's like, we finally updated Forge to the place that you want it years later. And it's just
now that no one's talking about this game.
Now that no one's talking about it. And we didn't actually add more stuff to it. We're giving the community the reins to make our game better. And it's just it's great to have editing tools, and I think it's tremendous. And seeing people that really take advantage of those tools and make interesting maps, interesting levels and scenarios, that's awesome. But Microsoft, can you guys add stuff? Why are modders out doing what you're doing?
You don't want what we've got. And they're like, what are we doing? Nothing.
Yes, please.
I feel like Halo Infinite is kind of like the game where it was like a really adorable puppy that the family bought, and years later it's just chained in the backyard, forgotten about. It's just shit everywhere. So, I know we don't typically curse, but that's how emphatic I am about the dog crap that's in the back. So I'm bummed about it. I wish that this is one of those instances where I kind of wish the game was delayed a bit so they could just launch all this stuff.
Yeah.
I think I will go back and try it because it's on Game Pass. There's not really a loss outside of the space on my computer to try it again. So just to like, give it another chance. But at a certain point, it's like, okay, it's been several years. Your team should just be working on the next game. I don't know. It's an interesting thing with Halo multiplayer, as it's usually got a pretty long tail behind it. But I guess it's a good time to transition to our like main topic of the show this week.
Yes.
Another company that I think did the right thing here was CD Projekt Red. They spent $125 million to bring Cyberpunk back from the dead, effectively. And I guess the main question I want to pose to you and everybody watching is that okay? Is that something we like game companies doing, like releasing a game that's a little busted and then fixing it later? Do we prefer the, hey, we know we boned up on that one, here's Lords of the Fallen 2023? Like, granted, those are very different situations.
Sure,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's not a sexy answer, but it kind of lives in gray. I think it's excusable for smaller companies to do it, because games releasing in early access. They acknowledge that they're releasing in early access, but a lot of times they'll say that and then people will still complain that the game is not done. And it's like, well, yeah, the game is not done, but this smaller company from this smaller publisher, they need the cash infusion now. And so that's why they're taking it to market. And so I do get that. To me, what's unexcusable is when the bigger companies do it, because to me, it's like, I understand that, I don't understand. I shouldn't say that I understand why Halo released in such a horrible state where it's like, well, the campaign's done, kind of, and it's fun for like 6 or 7 hours. And then the multiplayer is so bad, it's free to play. We're not even going to try and sell it to you. And they knew that, which is why they did it. But to me, it's just like, just delay the game a year, take the loss. And everybody's still going to buy it because it's Halo, but you need to delay it and you need to have it ready. And CD Projekt Red, they're not as big as Microsoft, but releasing Cyberpunk in the state that it was, and I love CD Projekt Red, but releasing it in the state it was just not acceptable. And so they did the right thing and they made up for it. And I think that counts for a lot, because Microsoft has not done that with Halo, and other games have also, some other games have not done that. So like when it's a smaller company, I think it's okay. Early access stuff, it makes sense. But I do feel like a lot of companies are falling back on, well, we can just patch it. We'll
fix it in post.
Yeah. And it's just like, no, you can't just keep throwing things on the pile of like honestly, like I've been playing Starfield like crazy, but that game is not ready to be released. Like I would argue it probably shouldn't have been released until like early next year, maybe December at the earliest. Like it's just not ready. Even there was a patch for it yesterday or the day before, I want to say. It's like, we added sliders in the graphics settings, and it's like, wow, what an update. like what do you oh, now I can increase the range of my view, and it's like, well, if I was playing Call of Duty that would matter, but I'm not. So anyway, what were you gonna say?
I mean, there's been a few success stories. So like one of the biggest ones outside of Cyberpunk is No Man's Sky. That released to sort of universal, like everybody lost their minds because we all thought it was gonna be like a full universe simulator.
Yeah.
And to an extent, it was. Like, from launch, you could fly to different planets. Didn't have multiplayer like they said was possible.
Like they said.
They were very vague, but they were like, yeah, you should be able to run into other people. And that's the thing that game developers, you got to know. Like, if you say there's no way you can see every planet and, like, possibly see another player, us gamers are going to find a way to find another player. We're going to find all the stuff you put.
Yeah.
But over the years, it has become probably probably the best space game in terms of just so much stuff that you can do. You can like build a house, you can make a car, you can make a mech, you can pet animals. There's so much stuff added to it, and that is an example of a smaller company. I think like CD Projekt Red, they are kind of a big company, but also in a lot of ways an indie, they're like a mid-tier developer amongst giants, because they've had like a couple of games that really hit, which was Witcher 2 to a lesser extent, Witcher 3.
I mean, The Witcher 3 was there. I mean, they got money from the government. They got international recognition. Like they pulled in a lot of money for Witcher 3. And then lost a lot on Cyberpunk. Yeah. But it's a great game now. And just like you said, No Man's Sky is a great game now. No Man's Sky is a way better space game than Starfield right now. The difference is Starfield has a story and No Man's Sky doesn't really have a story. And so that's the reason I'm playing it. But other success stories, I brought up that I played this game this week, Darktide. For those who are fans of Warhammer, Darktide is a Left 4 Dead-esque shooter. Recently had a big update this week where it completely redid the classes and essentially added like different builds. There's a completely new skill tree, and now there's like 3 subclasses within each class. And completely new abilities depending on which route you go, and you can still play the characters the classic way if that's the version that you want to play. But it's awesome that they're adding new gameplay. I think that's always a great thing to add to a game. The performance issues have pretty much gone away, for me at least, with Darktide. New maps, new dialogue. So they keep adding to it. And Darktide is a game that released in a very janky state. It didn't really perform well. And it's been about a year now, maybe a little bit. I can't remember exactly when it came out. But it's gotten a lot better, and there's content there. So they're doing the right thing. But again, smaller developer. Doing the right thing.
I think the concept is, I think CD Projekt Red recognized, and the No Man's Sky development team recognized, and it seems like Darktide recognizes, if you are a company that sells a game that is broken, people are never going to forgive you unless you go in and fix it.
Oh, so it's like a reputation type thing.
Yeah, like CD Projekt Red, if they had released Cyberpunk and then done nothing to it, and then we're like, hey, we're working on The Witcher 4, the amount of people who would be like, I'm not paying you money for something, I'm not doing a pre-order for sure. And even if the reviews are good, I'm still going to wait until it goes on sale because I don't trust you anymore. But an example of a big company, which is surprising beyond, I feel like, everything actually doing this, is Battlefront 2018.
Yes.
Because technically that game worked when it launched, but it was so riddled with microtransactions that like your enjoyment of the game and your progression was tied to a freaking lottery system.
Yeah.
And I still see people like on TikTok playing, like TikTok lives or whatever, when I'm scrolling through, playing Battlefront, because it is such a unique experience that you could tell was a labor of love for DICE, I believe, who had it. And I'm impressed that they were able to get through to EA and be like, listen, we have to actually fix this game. And maybe it was Disney like shoving them around to be like, you can't have done this.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, it's a great game now. It's even an old game at this point, but it still looks amazing. All of even if you play the vanilla version, not all the mods that are now available for the game, like all of the heroes that they added, like people don't remember the state, not just the loot box thing. That's what everybody talks about, but like a big complaint I had is that whenever you were playing like Galactic Conquest, which was it used to be the main mode, maybe it wasn't. It was Galactic Assault was the main mode. Whenever you did that, it's like, well, I'm playing on the Empire against the Rebels, but I can technically play as Darth Maul because he's a bad guy. And like the reason for that is because they didn't have enough heroes in the game. Like Like the prequel trilogy heroes, I'm pretty sure were just Yoda and Darth Maul, and those were the options.
Yeah.
And then the new generation, I mean, there's not a lot of characters to pick through with the new generation, but like they didn't have any of those either. So it was just like the fact that they went back and like, we're gonna add Obi-Wan Kenobi, we're gonna add General Grievous, we're gonna add Count Dooku, we're gonna add Anakin Skywalker, we're gonna add Finn. And do they have Rey? I think they had Rey when it launched.
I think actually, I think Finn and Rey were both in it at launch.
Oh, okay.
Maybe they didn't have Poe. But
I mean, Poe is just a starfighter.
True.
So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was just his ship.
Yeah.
But yeah, they
added BB-8, which was big, and BB-9, which is just the evil version, I guess.
Is that the actual case?
There is an evil. I mean, I think it's in the last movie. I don't know what the droid's name actually is, but there is.
BB, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like I'm impressed that they did that. And it's kind of a weird thing that I don't think we'll get a Battlefront 3 at least in the foreseeable future.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
Because Star Wars is like a whole different thing now. We have all these new like all the Mandalorian characters, Ashoka, like. We have all this new stuff to like explore and do in Star Wars, and I think because of like kind of a crappy release, we're not going to get to do more of that. Which is a bummer,
EA, if you're out there listening, I will pay for Battlefront 3 because you fixed Battlefront 2. But if you didn't fix Battlefront 2, I wouldn't be saying that. But yeah, I mean, there's so much potential. I mean, you could add so much content to the game. Like one of the last updates that they did was called Ewok Hunt. Oh my God, Phil. It is one of the funnest things to play with a group of friends. Oh my God. Have you ever heard of this mode at all?
No. What is Ewok Hunt?
Ewok Hunt it's night, and there are 2 people in the match. I think it's like 16 players, and 2 people out of the 16 are Ewoks. And the other 14 are stormtroopers, and it's at night, and you can't pick up any weapons. You have 1 blaster, or you can pick up some specialty weapons, but it's not like the normal game. And you have a flashlight that like has to recharge, and it's really dark, so it's just like this horrifying experience. And then you just hear Ewoks running through the bushes, and you're like, oh my God. When you just start shooting in the bushes like crazy. It's so much fun, and it's like it's a mode that's been ripped off of other games before, but just in that context, it's a lot of fun, and
it's like nice and silly. It's a good
yeah, and like there's so many more things you could do with Star Wars, and more heroes you could add. You could add the Mandalorian. You can add Ahsoka.
Dude, that would be a great, like, honestly, like a remaster if they wanted to. Like, hey, here's a deluxe edition of Battlefront. Here's everything in the game, and we've added a couple new things for the next gen. Okay, I wanted to ask you, and I guess everyone watching, comment your answer. What would be the best game to do that with that didn't get that treatment? Like, what would be a game that should get that support in your view? And I'll offer my answer first.
Please.
The game Evolve. Do you remember Evolve?
I do remember Evolve. Yeah.
This is one of those first like isometric multiplayer games. I don't believe you can actually still play it online. I think the servers are down.
Yeah.
But that would have been a cool game just to get like way more. If that was I feel like that was a precursor to Dead by Daylight, but if they kind of had given it that treatment instead of like releasing a Predator game, they had just put Predator in there, it would have been so much. I don't know. I just think it was such a cool premise, and it got bailed out on pretty early, when like it didn't quite work.
Yeah, like I remember being really about that game. I love the premise. I think the problem with that game is that the game was the premise, and that was it. It was like you're a boss, 1 person is the boss versus 4 monster hunters, and like I think that's a great premise, and that's fine if that's the standard mode of the game. but I think it needed other modes, other avenues of gameplay, of like, okay, it's 3 monsters versus a team of 8, you know, or something along those lines. And all they did was they just kept adding characters and cosmetics, and they're like, well, we're just gonna push the store. And so yeah, I would have loved for that to get more support. I invested a lot of time in that game.
Yeah, so it was a really great one. I think it had a lot of potential that kind of got ignored, and maybe it's because better things, like better versions of that, came out, but it was just really creative, and I think it's kind of a bummer that we didn't get to see what they would have done next.
Sure. I guess I'm having trouble. I can think of one, just because we were talking about Star Wars so much. And I would say for right now, without putting too much thought into it, I would say Star Wars Squadrons.
The one that released just a few years ago.
Yes.
Yes.
So the newer Star Wars Squadrons, and the reason I think they did one big update for it, and it was a good update. But I think EA, after they had fixed Battlefront to the extent that they did without charging anybody to fix it, they were like, okay, no more updates for Squadrons, and we're not promising anything, and we're just not going to do it. And so I think it's kind of more leftover Battlefront fatigue, because like I would have loved to have gotten like bigger, more modes instead of, 5v5. Could you do 10v10? Could you do 15v15? Could we get a Death Star? Could we get more set piece battles?
Some single player missions that were like iconic from like Star Wars battles would have been great.
Yeah, and I think, I would be fine if game developers went back to DLC packs instead of leaning on microtransactions and cosmetic stores. Like if you release Squadrons in, the classic Star Wars era, then be like, okay, we're releasing the prequel trilogy era and it's $15. And if you want the prequel trilogy, it's $15 to play. And it's like, yeah, I would do that. I'd rather do that and earn cosmetics through gameplay than like get limited options so I can spend 30 hours so I can get one skin for one fighter, if I happen to be playing that class.
Totally.
Yeah.
That game was so good. I played in VR because I had the PlayStation VR setup.
Right, yeah.
I played in VR a couple of times, and it was, I don't get dizzy playing like VR stuff, but it was definitely one of the ones where I would like play for too long because of how fun it was, and then I'd take off the helmet and be like, okay, I need to just sit still for a little while. Yeah, that's such a good answer. Folks who are watching and listening,
yeah,
if you're watching on YouTube, comment what you think should have gotten that treatment, because I'm sure there's so many games out there that deserve the love that these other series and franchises got. Luckily, that just didn't get their shot.
Yeah, they just didn't get their shot, man. So
such a dour note. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. No, it's. I mean, like I would love to see lots of games fixed. I don't think I've felt like ripped off. I would love to see the Callisto Protocol fixed.
Yeah,
but I don't really know how you fix that game. I think it just kind of is what it is. There's nothing to like, like I don't know, change the buttons, the gameplay,
change the whole actual game.
Like there's not a lot of good foundation aside from the engine, which is amazing. Like I don't really know what else is there. I'm looking through my.
Another answer, like, just because I bought it when it was on super sale, but Gotham Knights was a game that like had a lot of.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh. Right. Imagine if that one they like, hey, we redid the combat so it's exactly like Arkham Knight. It's like really fast and punchy. We added more things to do. We made the getting around not suck. Like,
I mean, that game was bad, man.
That game was real bad.
That game was like, I bought that game for Golden Glazed Gaming. Because I was like, everybody loves Batman. This is going to get some great traction online. Yeah. Everyone hated it immediately. And I really tried to get through it. I did. But I was like, I can't. I feel like the combat in that game, I feel like you press a button and you have no idea what your character is going to do next. And like, I try to learn it, like, so I'm not like button mashing or anything. It's like, but like you'd be facing one direction and you press attack and your character will jump in the opposite direction and attack somebody else. And at least with the Arkham Knight series, like the direction you're pointing in is the direction you're attacking in, and you can you can move with the analog stick, and so go bing bing bang boom, instead of just who knows what Robin is going to do next. I have no idea. So
there's something about that game where the input lag was just long enough to where you like hit a button in a direction to attack, and he'd be like, flip, hit, and it just took so long. And I get that you're not supposed to feel as badass as Batman, but it's a video game, and I want my characters to feel as badass as possible. Especially like Nightwing, all of them. They're all like supposed to be so well trained.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm just. It was a real bummer. Another like weird thing is that when you would like use the grappling hook, you would like kind of fly up, and then you had to push a button to go over it. But you couldn't really control that jump, so sometimes you just go sailing too far. And if you were playing as Nightwing in the Red Hood, you would just like crash into the ground and roll. And I was like, there's just something I don't buy about these characters jumping from 3 stories and landing on the ground.
Yeah.
Because they're just people. But
yeah, it was the gameplay was the problem. It also didn't. I think the cutscenes were pretty good, but the gameplay engine, played it on PS5, did not look good. Just not a good game. That game's one of those like laundry list ones. Like I can see it's not like the Callisto Protocol. Well, I could see a way to fix that one, but there's a book of things they need to go through.
I've also heard rumors that might be the next one of the next PlayStation like free games for next month.
I bet it is.
So
I bet it is. So
they got to find some way to make money off that game.
Yeah.
Oh, on that same like Avengers would have been really cool if they completely revamped that and like gave it years worth of. Okay, now I'm starting to get sad.
Yep, now we're going down this rabbit hole of what if all those games we got excited about were actually good. So let's stop it. We're gonna stop it there. We talked about Avengers last week. We're gonna stop it.
Yeah. Every week going forward, we need to find a way to bring up the 2020 Avengers game and hurt ourselves all over again.
Why didn't they fix it? Why did they give up?
Why was Spider-Man swinging so bad?
Because it's only available on PlayStation, and they're not going to put in effort for half of their community.
Such a wild thing. But yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. If you enjoyed the podcast, please like and subscribe on YouTube as well as Spotify or any other podcast tool or application that you use. Please subscribe. We're on a lot of them now. If you have any comments for the questions that Phil asked earlier, please let us know, and we will respond to them next episode. But yeah, thank you for joining me this week, Phil. Spider-Man is next week. I know you are pumped and stoked to the max about it. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get you online to record. Like
10 more sleeps. Listen, I'll be here, but physically I'll be here. Mentally, I'll be swinging through New York with my good friend Peter Parker or Miles Morales, depending on who I'm playing.
Whatever the vibe is right then.
Whatever the vibe is.
All right. Awesome. All right. Have a good one, everybody.
Goodbye.